This is the moment when the supposedly dead killer comes back to life for one last scare. One last scare. One last scare.
Hi, and welcome to The Last Scare, a home for horror nerds to come together and gush about their favorite feel-good genre. I'm Jayla.
And I'm Cam.
And we're just hanging out tonight.
Just chill vibes tonight. We had a plan, and plans change, and so we are just hanging out. So if you're in here with us, feel free to ask us things about horror and other movies because we like other movies.
We do like other movies. I just saw The Prestige for the first time.
I've seen that movie many times. I was showing it to Jayla for the first time, so that was fun. That movie really holds up.
Blew my mind, truly.
We like music too.
Oh yeah.
We're people.
We are people. We do have a lot of different things that we enjoy.
Yeah, we like stuff.
That's very true. But Cam.
Yeah, what's up?
You're a bit new to the genre?
I've been watching horror stuff for like a year since I've known you, but yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen everything. There's plenty I have not seen.
You're only a year in. I don't blame you.
And at my age, I am just very critical, and so I feel like I don't like a lot of stuff.
That's okay.
And I feel bad about that.
Knowing that you're critical, are there any horror tropes that you're like absolutely over?
Horror Yeah, there's plenty of tropes I'm over. Let's see.
Like, when this is dead now, there's no way to bring it back to life. Let it die.
I think the jump scare is a lost art. I think there's a good way to do jump scares, and like big budget studio movies don't do them very well. Like it'll go quiet for like 2 seconds, and so you know when the jump scare is coming. And they do a lot of fake outs too. Like there'll be a jump scare, but it's just like, it's your friend scaring you as a joke. That is so played. I'm over that. If there's a jump scare, I want it to be something scary. I want it to follow through.
Continue the scare.
Yeah, continue the scare. Be scary. We've got a message here from Indiana Old. Hi, guys. What would you say your favorite movie of the summer was, or favorite movie of the year?
That's so hard. Horror-wise, or just in general? Because
just in general, I'd say
Spider-Verse.
That's what I was going to say. Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Any long-term viewers know that we like comic book movies and end up talking about those instead of horror pretty often.
Yeah.
Across the Spider-Verse was absolutely magnificent. It really built on Into the Spider-Verse in a lot of really beautiful ways, progressed the story, gave us an amazing cliffhanger.
Oh yeah, incredible. I forgot it was gonna be a two-parter.
Mm-hmm.
So it hit me super hard. And I was like, man, this feels really soon. Like feels really late into the game for all of this. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
Whenever they can get that third movie made, which it's going to be a long time at this point, it's on that movie's on hold indefinitely. There's no release date for it. Even before the strikes, they had not been making good progress on it. They were not going to meet their like March deadline of next year.
They haven't even done any of the voice acting for it yet.
That just wasn't going to happen. So yeah, Across the Spider-Verse.
Easy.
Favorite movie of the year? Across the Spider-Verse. That's fair. Evil Dead Rise and Skinamarink are easily my horror movies of the year, but they are so high up there that they are like in my top 10 of all time.
Oh, see, it's hard for me because I keep thinking Skinny was a last year thing for some reason. No. I'm putting it into December. Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead Rise is a huge moment for me, at least to really experience it and have that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think I keep going back to Spider-Verse because it's the most recent. But Evil Dead Rise is in my top 5 of the year already, along with, and I guess Skinny, even though I think Skinny of Skinny as a last year thing still.
It came out in festivals last year, but I don't count that. I count like the general release as when a movie comes out, because it doesn't matter what small group of people in Canada saw Skinamarink last year.
Mhm.
It didn't exist for the general public until this year.
Of course.
So that's what counts for me.
Yeah, I don't know. My brain is placed in a completely different spot. What can I say? What can I say?
What can you say?
What can you do?
What else did we like? I liked John Wick Chapter 4.
That was fun.
I thought it was an amazing continuation of the John Wick series.
Yeah. For any of my video game nerds out there, there's a bit where it's like over top. That made me think of a game called Hotline Miami. It's like shot the same way.
Mhm.
You're doing pew-pews, all that good stuff. It was really cool because, we don't get a lot of good we don't get a lot of good video game movies. So
If anyone in the chat has seen Gran Turismo, we would like to know your thoughts on it. We have not seen it yet. We are almost certainly going to see it because we see everything.
there's very few times where we're just like, we're not seeing this. We're not going to do this.
The last time that happened was Meg 2, The Trench. we were gonna see it, and then we started Meg 1, and we're like, this is fucking dreadful. I don't want to watch this. And then we ended up watching a recap of the first one and was like, I don't see the appeal. And then I've heard stuff about the second one on other podcasts, and I'm just not invested. I don't care.
Yeah. It just seemed really boring for a giant shark movie.
For sure. Indiana Old says, what were your thoughts on Dial of Destiny if you were able to see it? I personally really enjoyed it. Take it away, Jayla.
I saw Dial of Destiny on my birthday, and I was a little bit underwhelmed. As an adventure movie lover, I didn't feel a huge sense of adventure. I'm glad you enjoyed it though. I'm sorry.
I'm always really happy when someone can enjoy something.
Yes.
You're not wrong to have enjoyed. I actually thought it was really fun throughout. I think the ending.
Yeah.
We're not going to spoil stuff tonight, but the ending was going a certain place.
Yeah.
And when that was happening, I thought, this is great. This is a great conclusion to the story. And then they immediately pull back and do something else that I thought was just less interesting. And there was no reason for them to end it that way instead.
I agree. I feel like I wish they kind of leaned into that a bit more, that particular part a bit more. Other than that, I enjoyed Phoebe Waller-Bridge. She was really cool. She's really great.
Very funny.
She is so funny. She's so much fun. I need to finish Fleabag.
You need to watch Fleabag.
I watched the first 2 episodes, Cam.
We watched the first half of the first episode and then got distracted with like whatever
We
else.
totally finished the first episode.
No, we didn't.
What? No.
No, we didn't. Anyway. Indiana Old piping in here with, I really enjoyed Gran Turismo, even if at times it feels like the most expensive commercial for the game itself. David Harbour and Jimon Hunsu were amazing.
I am a David Harbour fan, so that's enough to get me like at least a little bit interested. And Orlando Bloom is in it, right?
Yeah. I'm actually pretty optimistic for that movie because it's directed by Neil Blomkamp, who did District 9, Chappie, and Elysium.
Wow.
So he's got a very distinctive visual style. I'm guessing this movie is not set in like a apocalyptic wasteland like the other movies. So I'm not expecting it to have that spice, but being directed by Blomkamp seems like it should be at least something decent.
Right.
Great time to mention the Alien movie that never was. Neil Blomkamp had all these drawings and artwork and plans and storylines for an Alien movie, as in Alien, not like just aliens, but like the Alien franchise, like Alien.
Speaking of Alien, I got into a debate at work the other day, debating Alien as a franchise being a horror franchise or not, because we had Zach and like
it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Sci-fi horror.
He specifically called out Alien as not being horror, and I'm like, no. Like I know like they get actiony, but action horror can be a thing too.
I think there's a lot of suspense in the first one.
Oh, of course.
And when I first saw it, I was a little bored. I was much younger than I am now, but I was like, okay, it's called Alien. It's about an alien. So I know what the monster or whatever is going on. I know what it is. And they just act like it's like you're supposed to be in suspense about it. Like, what is it? Oh, I don't know. Certainly not an alien. That's definitely not in the title.
It's like what kind of alien, you know?
I mean, it's iconic now. We all know what a xenomorph looks like now, but I'm sure at the time, you know, it didn't have the time to become iconic when it was just. Actually, I don't know what the movie trailers were showing at that point.
I'm pretty sure Alien is one of those movie trailers that was like really good. Because back in the day, there are a lot of movie trailers that just showed you the entire movie. Carrie is a big one. For example. And yeah, that's all I can think about right now.
Yeah, Neil Blomkamp was supposed to direct an Alien movie, but Ridley Scott ripped it out from under him because it was interfering with his plans for Alien. It has now been 6 years since we've had an Alien movie. The last one we got was Alien Covenant, which I think Blake didn't like, but I really liked that movie. I thought it was an okay follow-up to Prometheus. Not better than Prometheus, which in my opinion, it's my favorite Alien movie is Prometheus. I think it's a very strong, scary, disturbing movie. And you might not even know it's an Alien movie if you don't know it going in.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Where is everyone?
I don't know. No one's here tonight. They're all out.
Indiana Old is here.
I'm sorry, Indiana Old. I love you still. You're so important to us.
Thanks for being here often.
Yeah, thanks. You're always here. Were you perhaps Eddie Murphy?
I think Indiana Old and Eddie Murphy were in the chat at the same time that one night.
Were they? I still want to know who Eddie Murphy was. Oh, geez.
I looked at the Eddie Murphy YouTube account and there's nothing on it. I'm pretty sure that someone created a burner account to not troll us, not spam us. What's the word?
Be funny for the meme.
Yeah, it was funny. It wasn't harmful.
It made the night. It was really great.
Goofing on us.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Indiana Old says, Cam, as a horror newcomer, are there franchises or series that you feel nervous about potentially watching in the future?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Well, this week I did start the Friday the 13th movies because I have never watched them except for Jason Goes to Hell. I've seen that one. And I'm nervous about Friday the 13th going forward. But I'll save my thoughts on that for hopefully next week. Hopefully next week we'll be doing the Friday the 13th episode.
Yeah.
But I'm a little nervous about that. I'm also a little nervous about Nightmare on Elm Street just because it's, you know, in a similar vein, and it's not like I'm scared. Like movies don't really scare me. I'm nervous because I'm afraid they're just going to be really bad. I'm looking forward to Dream Warriors and New Nightmare because those are the ones that everyone tells me are amazing. And I know the premise of New Nightmare, and I think that sounds perfect. It seems like it bridges the gap. This is just an assumption I'm making. I'm assuming it bridges the gap between Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream.
Yeah. I love New Nightmare. I loved New Nightmare so much. Dream Warriors as well. I think you'll really enjoy it. I think overall, as far as the trifecta goes, as I call it, Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare. Nightmare is going to be your favorite because the personality is so big. Like Freddy's personality is such a huge part of it. That
is something I can look forward to. I've seen Halloween 1978. We actually got to see that in the theater last year, which was really cool. That movie is amazing.
Absolutely. The thing is, Halloween takes some weird turns. They get really wacky, and I don't know if you're going to be down for the wacky they go for.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing for me. And the biggest part that I'm interested in, because there's this whole saga of Halloween that they just go wild.
Is it like Halloween Resurrection and H2O and all that?
Before that.
Before that. Okay.
So like you have Halloween 1 and 2, which are both Michael Myers movies, and then they tried to make it an anthology series. So Halloween 3 is not a Michael Myers movie.
Right. I know about
Separate.
that.
Yeah. Which it's still really, really good. If they didn't call it Halloween, it probably would have done amazing.
Yeah, they probably had that expectation set.
Yeah.
Michael Myers was already an icon at that point.
Pretty much. So right after that, if I'm remembering correctly,
he hadn't even made Austin Powers yet.
Shut up.
Sith Morrison is here in the chat.
Hey, Jordan. Hi.
A little late, but I'm here.
I'm so happy to see you. We're talking Halloween. I'm not giving away spoilers, but if you know what I'm talking about when I say Halloween gets really weird with where they go with it for a little bit right after 3, that's what I'm prepping Cam for.
Indiana Old was asking if there are any series that I'm nervous about because I still have not seen a lot of horror stuff. And I've answered that question, and now I'm going to ask Indiana Old and Seth Morrison and whoever else is in the chat if there are any series that I should be concerned about.
Oh, that's a great question.
I am interested in the, what's it called? I think it's the French extremity movement, which includes, I don't know if extremity is the right word.
You're right.
It's extreme something.
No, extremity.
Martyrs.
Yes.
Very infamous, disturbing movie. I am nervous about that, but I'm pretty sure that I'm going to watch it eventually.
We have it at my job. I can get it for you.
Blake watched it and said he wasn't sleeping. It really stuck with him, and I'm thinking maybe if he's up to it, we could do a boys' night and talk about a boys' night for the show.
Yeah, because we had our final girls' night. You guys can do that because I am protecting myself from martyrs.
Yeah, Jayla's not watching.
I'm not doing it.
Wrong one. Seth Morrison says, "Oh yeah, the Halloween series gets weird."
It does. It's so funny.
Hello, Dreaded. Hi, sorry I'm late. We're all late tonight. It's that kind of.
It's a chill night.
It's
come as you please.
Chill vibes night. We are answering questions about horror and about any kind of movie because we like all sorts of movies.
Yeah, and things.
Music, books, whatever. It is a casual night. We're keeping it cash.
Keeping it cash.
Indiana Old says.
That's what I was going to say, Indiana Old. I was going to mention Saw. Go ahead.
Saw movies are really enjoyable. I will say, though, the police investigation side of the story is more engaging for me than the gory traps.
Yeah. Oh, my God. That you know what? I've never been able to put that into words before, really. But I fully agree that it's so interesting. I guess because I'm a fan of Seven and Zodiac and things of that nature, I really always found that interesting, which is why Spiral was a bit disappointing to me, but we'll get there when we get there.
I too love David Fincher movies.
I'm just a David Fincher fan. What can I say? I've loved every movie he's made. The
only David Fincher movie I haven't seen is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo remake. Because it's the Daniel Craig one.
Yeah.
It's a remake, but I haven't seen any of them because I was going to read them. And I started reading the first one back in senior year of high school, and I have not, I didn't finish it. I don't really finish books. I don't think I've finished a book since 2018.
You know what's funny? I never really realized how much I love David Fincher's movies until I looked at his filmography all at once. I'm like, wow, I deeply enjoyed all of these.
I went and sought them out because for me it started with Gone Girl. I saw the trailer for that movie when it was in theaters. I thought that looks amazing, and so I went and I bought the book, and me and a couple of my friends all read the book. And since 2 of us were under 17, we had to buy tickets for Alexander and the Very Bad Day and sneak into Gone Girl instead. But the book was amazing. It's one of my favorite books. The movie does a very faithful job of adapting it. But I saw that was David Fincher, and one of my teachers had told me about Fight Club. So I went and watched Fight Club, and I was like, holy shit, both of these movies are amazing. So I went and I watched every David Fincher movie, including Alien 3, which he disavowed before it came out.
Yeah, he did.
Dreaded says, what did you think about Cobweb? I saw it recently, and I kid you not, the first thing I said when I finished was, oh yeah, I'm gonna need a last scare episode on this. LOL.
We haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet. I think we'll probably cover it when it comes to streaming or something.
Might be on streaming now. I think I saw it when I was renting Friday Part 3. We live in a smallish town, so there's a lot of movies we just don't get because we only have one theater.
Yeah. We might wait till we'll figure it out. We definitely want to watch that movie.
It's on our list.
It's on our radar. But we want to see it when everyone else is able to see it so we can all talk about it. Seth Morrison says Spiral is my least favorite Saw movie. I'm pretty sure that's a consensus thing, right?
I had such high hopes, and maybe I should just not ever have high hopes for a Saw movie. I didn't learn after 3D.
Does Jigsaw show up on a stage and slap Chris Rock? I'm sorry. I know the meme is dead. The joke is old, but it's still so damn funny to me. That's just
keep my traps out of your mouth.
Keep your trap out of my wife's mouth.
What? Spiral was so disappointing.
I'm kind of excited.
It has Samuel Jackson in it, man.
I love Sam Jackson.
I know. Not a lot though.
Is it so bad it's good though?
We'll have to rewatch it. And I'll see how I feel. Because I remember maybe after a second watch, I can enjoy it more, knowing what I'm getting into. My first one, I remember the trailer dropped, and I was like, oh, another comedian doing horror? He's going to take this in a new direction. It's going to be really cool. And then it wasn't.
Yikers.
Then it wasn't.
Indiana Old says, what are your thoughts on the Silence of the Lambs sequels, Hannibal, Red Dragon, Hannibal Rising?
Ooh.
Take it away. I have only seen Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. So I've only seen Silence of the Lambs. I've seen a TV series. I love it.
I've heard amazing things about the Hannibal show.
It's so good. The show is actually amazing, and I'm really sad it got canceled.
Red Dragon has, I think that's a prequel because they did Manhunter, which is the same story as Red Dragon. Manhunter came first. It had Brian Cox.
King.
I know so much about movies I haven't seen. Manhunter, I think, is pretty well regarded. So is Red Dragon, but it's a prequel to Silence of the Lambs. And then I want to say Hannibal Rising was the third one, which I think all three of those had Hopkins.
As someone who is a huge fan of Silence of the Lambs, I remember the day I watched it. I think it was around the time that I was just really into this subgenre of horror, crime kind of stuff. So I was watching Seven, I was watching Zodiac, I was watching Silence of the Lambs. I was just eating it up like a mad woman. I did watch this TV show, Hannibal, and I really, really loved it. So I'm so down to do like a Hannibal Lecter episode one of these days.
Oh, sure.
That would be my dream.
Yeah. Dreaded says Cobweb is incredible. It's scary, it's fun, and has a lot of mystery to it.
Ooh, I love a mystery.
I know that it also has some like parental themes, like I'm guessing Evil Dead and Skinamarink. That Evil Dead
Mommy issues?
Rise specifically. Yeah, that's sort of my jam because I think I said it in our Evil Dead Rise episode, but like some people can really identify with parental horror because they have a bad relationship with their parents. And personally, I think I can identify with parental horror because I think I just made up a subgenre, parental horror.
No, I'm into it. Yeah, things like Mama. And
I think I like those because I have a good relationship with my parents. So the thought of anything going wrong there is horrifying to me.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of someone that you love so much, you're supposed to be able to trust in someone that's supposed to protect you like that. Like how my parents are superheroes in their own ways. It's scary. It's scary. It's kind of like the one place you think you should be safe in the world turning on you.
Exactly.
And that's terrifying.
And then I think for people who don't have that, the movies can work just as well for them because then they just identify with it.
Right. Everyone wins.
Just guessing. That's
or they have trauma.
What people are feeling. Yeah, no, it sucks.
You either win or you have trauma.
Seth Morrison says Spiral is not so bad. It's good. It's just not good in my opinion. Okay, so I guess I'm worried about that one.
Are you excited for Saw? It gets wacky.
Yeah, I have only seen the first Saw movie. I'm probably
half of it.
No, I've seen the whole
We
thing.
didn't finish it.
We didn't finish it. We fell asleep. It was really cool. We have very short attention spans.
We do.
Speaking of which, Indiana Old says Red Dragon is a surprisingly good movie. It's the best post-Lambs Lecter movie, and it's surprising that Brett Ratner directed it. I think that's the X-Men guy,
That sounds like
or
yeah.
Bryan Singer.
Bryan Singer did the X-Men for sure, like the first 3. Hang on, I'll just Google it.
I think Brett Ratner
I know the name.
did some bad things. I don't know.
Bryan Singer did some bad things, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
For sure. Dreaded says, I think the next horror movie I'm going to watch is Demeter because if not, excuse me, it'll be Hotel Transylvania 4 because it's so bad. There's a 4th one?
There's a 4th one. Oh.
I don't know if I said it last week, but Adam Sandler is my Dracula.
Oh, no.
Unless it's Andy Samberg. I think Andy Samberg is in that. I think Andy Samberg is his son.
Hang on. Keep talking.
Okay. Dracula. Yeah, my ex-girlfriend a few years ago made me watch Hotel Transylvania with her, and it was funny. I think it was weird that I was watching movies with my ex, but no, just kidding. She wasn't my ex at the time. This is what happens when Jayla leaves me hanging.
Brett Ratner directed a segment in movie 43.
Movie 43 is easily one of the worst movies
He
I've seen.
also did the Rush Hour trilogy. He did X-Men Last Stand.
Last Stand is, I don't remember it being, wait, he did the whole trilogy?
That's what it's, I mean, I don't know if he did, I just looked at his movies, but yeah, he did trilogy.
I meant the X-Men trilogy.
No, Rush Hour trilogy.
Gotcha. Horrible Bosses. Did he direct Horrible Bosses?
No way.
Hang on. No, he didn't.
No.
And he didn't write
He was
it
a producer.
Oh, John Francis Daley wrote that movie. John Francis Daley was Sam on Freaks and Geeks, which is one of my favorite shows of all time.
Oh, man. You reminded me. Do I finish Freaks and Geeks first, or do I get started on Fleabag again?
Watch Fleabag with me because I'm pretty sure I never finished Fleabag and I need to start it over.
Okay.
I've seen Freaks and Geeks like 100 times and it still gets me, but go ahead and watch that one without me because we have so much stuff to watch.
We don't have a comedy we're watching right now.
We need to. So I've seen The Office and Jayla has seen Parks and Rec.
Yes.
But she hasn't seen The Office and I haven't watched Parks and Rec. So we're basically going to trade. So we can start that soon.
Yeah.
And anytime I'm over at yours, we can watch The Office. And anytime you're at mine, we can watch Parks and Rec.
That's brilliant. You're going to love. I'm so excited to watch Parks and Rec so you get my references. I
already get a lot of references just because my brother watched Parks and Rec. He's referenced it plenty. Seth Morrison said, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah.
Not sure what you're talking about.
Dracula goes, blah, blah.
Oh, I thought he was talking about us talking.
No. Blah, blah.
It's been a while. I've repressed memories of that relationship. Little Wolfie says, I'm here. Hello, Little.
Hi, Little Wolfie. It's been so long since I've seen you. I'm always happy to see you.
Welcome to the show. You can ask us anything tonight. We are keeping it cash. Seth Morrison says, oh man, I love Freaks and Geeks. I knew you would. I was trying to, that's a Darth Sidious. I knew you would. Indiana Old says, are you hyped for the new Exorcist movie? Thank you for the reminder. That is a series I am worried about. I don't know if we're going to watch all the Exorcist movies.
Do we have to?
I don't think we have to because they're doing a Halloween reboot.
We're the true sequel. We're the real sequel. Forget everything you know.
That, exactly. They're retconning all the other sequels. I'm very nervous to watch all of those. I am not hyped for the new Exorcist movie. I've tried not to watch the trailer because trailers give away so much these days, and Jayla and I just typically try to avoid them in general. But from what I've seen from the Exorcist trailer, from the 3 times in the last week I've been to the movie theater, I am not looking forward to that. I am really tired of whatever the girl is saying, there's a phrase. Okay, I've had a drink tonight and now I'm blanking. She's
Keeping it smooth.
the body and the blood. She keeps saying the body and the blood, and I am tired of hearing that. I'm really tired of hearing that. I don't think I finished reading this comment. It says, I personally think it'll be a bland repeat of what we say with the David Gordon Green Halloween trilogy. Exactly. Yeah.
Spot on. Yeah.
Seth Morrison says, The Exorcist original and The Exorcist 3 are incredible. But you haven't seen those?
I haven't seen. We watched the original together.
No, I mean, you haven't seen any of the sequels, though.
No, I haven't. I'm a fake horror fan, folks. I'm a bad horror fan. So I watch, Evil Dead and Scream.
Yeah, no, that's what our whole podcast is kind of based around. It's a podcast about the Evil Dead and Scream.
Final Destination.
I like Final Destination.
Final Destination. We have a new one coming somewhere in the near kind of future.
No, it's not near.
In the distant future.
There's no plan, and the strikes are happening.
They have a script, kind of. They have a plan. How do you think they could reinvent the series?
We've talked about this.
We talked about what was leaked as far as like what they might be doing, but how do you personally feel? Because I know the original idea they threw away, it's gone, was going to be EMS was a person that had the vision. And I think that's a really interesting person to be dealing with all of that.
I like that plan. Where they were going with that, just through have a good central protagonist, because in the Final Destination movies, everyone dies by the end, which I love a bleak ending. I really do. I like a good downer ending where everyone dies. That is my jam. The way I would like Final Destination to reinvent themselves is to have an interesting storyline throughout, whereas I think for those 5 movies, they have been stuck on a formula.
Yeah.
A string of very clever deaths.
Yeah, I would think it'd be interesting if there was a way they could beat death. Just one time, because we've seen the same cycle 5 times now. So I would be really, because they said something how they're changing the formula that's still within like what you expect from Final Destination, but it's different. And how we've talked about, things like Ring or Smile. I think it'd be really interesting if they found some way to either learn more about the cycle, like why they have the vision in the first place, and maybe possibly even beat death.
I think another thing they could do with it is flip it around. Basically have a group of people that are all having their own individual visions of their own individual deaths. And then instead, once they get away from all those individual deaths throughout the movie, put them all in the same place and they all die together, like always happens at the beginning of the movie. So like a plane crash or the logger truck. They always have a vision of a group of people dying, but then they die off individually. Instead, have them have individual visions and then die in a big group accident at the end. Just now thought of that. That's an idea I like.
You can tell which one's the optimist of the two.
Little Wolfie says, what y'all think about Halloween Ends? It was fun.
Yeah, I think we liked it more than like 99% of people that went to see this movie.
I will say at the time, I was, fresher into the horror genre, having not known Jayla for as long as I am now. And I had only seen Halloween 78, period. That's the only one I had seen when we saw Halloween Ends, and I really liked it, but I didn't have the context of the whole series.
I had the context, but I don't know. There is something that was just kind of fun about it for me still. So that's about it.
I liked the actual closure of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's so rare that a horror movie gives you that. Because what I loved, that's a spoiler. I can't give it away. Never mind. Just kidding.
Zip, zip, zip.
Zip, zip, zip.
Dreaded says, would you consider Werewolf by Night a horror film? If so, what did you think of it? And then Seth Morrison says, Werewolf by Night was awesome. And I definitely put it in the horror category.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, hard agree there.
Absolutely. It's actually one of the best things that Disney Plus Marvel has put out.
Directed by Michael Giacchino,
Yeah.
legendary composer. I first knew about Michael Giacchino when Super 8 came out.
Oh,
It's a movie I love.
great
It's
movie.
J.J. Abrams' best movie, even though over time I have discovered more and more how derivative it is. That's my problem with J.J. Abrams is I'm going to stop because I'm going to end up going on my Star Wars tangent, and Jayla's heard it
No, please.
a million times.
You think he's derivative?
Force Awakens was fun when it came out. It was very exciting for Star Wars to come back. Love Rian Johnson. I liked Last Jedi at the time. It seemed like they were trying to subvert a lot of what was going on. And then the third one was in J.J. Abrams' hands once again, and all he wants to do is homages and make people experience the same things they experienced as a kid. I'm trying to speed run this. And he's just like, oh, you like this? We'll just do it again. Who gives a shit? Wrath of Khan. And
oh, hey, listen. I still enjoyed it, damn it.
that's valid. I have no skin in the game when it comes to Star Trek. Yeah, I just had to shoehorn that skin in the game in. Seth Morrison corrected me. Legendary composer of Batman. That is true.
Oh man,
we love Batman.
I love it. It's so good.
The Batman is the best, and this is another thing I've said 100 times. Batman is the best Batman movie, whereas The Dark Knight is a better movie. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Rob Pattinson is my Batman. Pattinson's my Batman, damn it.
Werewolf by Night had very strong visuals.
Oh yeah.
Turning it black and white and using a very sparing use of color, I think made the visuals a little more compelling, because the MCU the past few years, especially Disney Plus, has had a VFX problem, a CGI problem, whereas everything kind of looks like shit. This has sort of just been something we've all been talking about for a while now. But Werewolf by Night was beautiful.
Those kills, man.
And it was short. I think they could have done a movie. They could have done a decent movie, but they kept it very short and tight. And who knows? Maybe that'll be a sizzle reel for Werewolf by Night and Man Thing.
Ooh.
Man Thing looked amazing.
I know.
In that movie, special presentation. It's not a movie.
Special episode.
It's a Marvel Studios
TV special. Streaming special.
Yeah, I think they call it a Marvel Studios special presentation or something like that.
That's such a mouthful.
They should just call it a one shot. They used to do one shots, Hail to, or All Hail the King, whatever it's called, and On the Way to Thor's Hammer. Yeah.
What goobers.
Seth Morrison says, there you go, got Batman in here.
Thank you.
Got to represent even when Sabrina's not here.
She's going to be happy that we still talked about the Batman.
Indian Old says, what would you consider your least favorite movie of the year so far? 80 for Brady and Quantumania are up there for me. Sorry, Blake. Sleepy face.
I straight up refused to watch 80 for Brady. I was like, Cam, we're not going.
Yeah, okay, so we have movie theater subscriptions and we go see everything. We skipped that one. Fear, The Devil Conspiracy.
Who even knows about the Devil Conspiracy at this point?
Those are the worst horror movies we've seen this year. So I'm going to tell you about The Devil Conspiracy from what I remember, which I will say I was not in a completely lucid, sober state of mind when I watched it. But my understanding of it is a cult tries to steal the Shroud of Turin, which, if you're not in the Bible Belt and you don't know what the Shroud of Turin is, it's basically the burial garments that Jesus's body was wrapped up in when he was put in the tomb, I think.
Yeah, you're good.
And this cult tries to steal they successfully steal the Shroud of Turin so they can get some of Jesus' DNA to clone him
Yeah, to like impregnate a woman with his DNA. They kidnap a bunch of women and like try to impregnate all of them, but the whole point is to use his vessel, the vessel made with Jesus' DNA, to bring back the devil. Like the devil.
Yeah. And the thing is, this was made, from what I can tell from my little bit of internet research, this was made by Christian people for a Christian audience,
Yeah.
but also for a horror audience. And the thing is, it doesn't do a good job of either of those because it's a terrible horror movie. It was just absolute dreck. It was horrible to watch. But any mindful Christian would be deeply offended by it.
Yeah, we love this movie thinking, who is this for? Because like you have like exorcism. I remember at one point she drank bleach, tried to kill the baby, and then like she puked it up. So she ejected it out of her body somehow onto someone, and like their shirt was bleached afterwards.
She projectile shot it out of her self.
That is she like stood on top
I'm
of.
kidding. I made that up. Did that happen?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember. I genuinely don't.
No,
remember.
I'm pretty sure she like was like standing over someone.
I was
like,
just being gross.
And like melted someone's face off with it or something. Anyways, there's a lot of gore too.
Were the visuals like weirdly good?
Yeah, there was a scene where there's this giant monster that has like a whip or like a chain or something, and it's like slicing up bodies, slicing up heads, super gory. And we were like, who did this? Because this looks really good, and we don't know who this movie is made for at this point.
Okay, who did this?
Anyways, that's the movie we saw.
I clicked on the wrong thing. Seth Morrison said Sick is my least favorite movie of the year so far.
Oh, I know. I was meaning to watch that. I just never did. I heard it was a slasher. I like slashers, isolated slasher, but I don't know. Jordan doesn't like it.
Yeah. Lil Wolfie also said, what do you think about Saw or It?
Oh, what do you think about It?
It, up until this year, It chapters 1 and 2, the remakes, I count them as one movie, chapter 1 and chapter 2 together. Like I'm not going to watch one without the other. Most people like chapter 1 better, but I like chapter 2 better. But I'm going to watch both of them together like every October. That's just going to be tradition for me. I like It chapter 2 because I like the dynamic of a group of adults who experience something together in their youth, coming back together as adults and sort of hashing out what they dealt with when they were younger. So Haunting of Hill House, the TV show 6 Feet Under. Yeah, I just find it very compelling. You've got Finn Wolfhard, and mind you, when Finn Wolfhard. And then you've got Bill Hader as old Finn Wolfhard. And it's just very compelling performances from both of them, especially Bill Hader in the second one.
He made me cry.
Like my first exposure to Bill Hader was like 12 years ago watching SNL.
Same.
Specifically Stefan. It's just one of my favorite, easily my favorite SNL character of all time. It's my favorite. I'm going to read the book this year, hopefully, if I can manage to discipline myself into finishing a book.
You got this.
What do you think about It?
I love It. It was really great because it was one of those horror movies my mom loved. Like I watched the first one on my laptop because I didn't go to the theater for the first one. I saw the second one in theaters, but my mom saw it before me. She kept going pop, 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 pop around the house after she saw it because she was just like, I don't know, Pennywise is great. And yeah, the second one was so incredible to watch in the theaters. I know like a lot of people didn't like it, but personally, I found it really compelling. It made me cry. I really enjoyed seeing everyone come together. The cast was phenomenal.
Jessica Chastain.
I know, right? James McAvoy.
Yeah.
Bill Hader. Hello.
Sophie Lillis.
Sure, that's her name.
Bev.
Definitely.
The girl.
Yes.
She was also in a show called I Am Not Okay with This, which
Yes.
was tragically cut short. Have you seen that?
Not all of it. I started the first season and just never finished it.
I would say don't bother because it has a cliffhanger ending and then it got canceled.
Well,
Don't even bother.
okay then. What he said.
Indiana Old says, I'm not sure if you've heard of Farius with Sean Patrick Flannery.
Yeah.
That's another faith-based horror movie from the makers of God's Not Dead. I haven't heard good things.
We almost saw that, but then we looked into the making of, and we didn't want another double conspiracy moment.
Yeah, pretty much that. What she said. Also, it wasn't at our theater where we had a subscription. We would have had to pay like $12. And not that we're against that. We definitely support movie theaters. However, the movie's gotta. I'm not gonna pay $12 if I have low expectations for a movie. And
Right.
I had very low expectations for that.
Yeah, we paid to go see Bodies X3, Casablanca.
Yeah, this one theater, which unfortunately shut down recently, would be the theater to play A24 movies because our normal theater doesn't get all of them. It's gotten a few. We got to see Pearl there.
Beau's Afraid.
They have one showing of Beau is Afraid. We got to see Talk to Me. I think it's picking up there. They just used to not get all the A24 movies. And horror or not, we like A24 generally.
We sure do.
They're like any company, it's got some misses. Can't all be hits.
Yeah, you can't win them all.
Little Wolfie says chapter 2 was freaky. Crafting face. It's cry laughing. But I had fun and watching people in the cinema screaming and crying. Yeah, chapter 2, when that came out in late 2019,
Mm-hmm.
I got to see that in the theater because I had some new friends who liked horror, even though at the time I wasn't really into it. But I watched chapter 1 at home so I could go see chapter 2 with them. And I was like really nervous because I thought this movie was going to be really scary. And then you've got that opening scene in chapter 1. And I was like, oh God, they're really going there. And those movies were very effective for me. And now they won't really scare me because nothing really scares me anymore. They're just good. And like, they're just such solid, gorgeously made movies.
As a Mike Flanagan fan, I love a movie that makes me cry and scared at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Haunting of Hill House, sobbed while being terrified. So much fun. Conflicting emotions. Cam.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite kill scene in a horror movie?
Favorite kill scene in a horror movie?
Favorite kill.
Of course, my mind blanks at the moment.
I know. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go contrarian here,
Ooh.
and I'm gonna say I'm gonna go on a tangent here. I'm gonna just because it's recent. This is a recent memory because we just rewatched it. Birds of Prey and the and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Which I always liked that title. Most people hate that title.
It's such a fun title,
it's
right?
Cool. It's
it
a
has
great
personality to it.
I remember them posting on Twitter the front page of the script with that title on it, and I was like, okay, yeah, let's do this.
You know what to expect with that title.
Yeah, I was glad to see Harley divorced from Joker Leto.
She's better off on her own.
Sith Morrison bailing me out here, saying Terrifier 2, the bedroom scene. That is like the most brutal, gruesome one that comes to mind.
It just kept going.
It did just keep going. And looking back, I'm pretty sure our theater had the picture cropped. So I'm excited to watch that one again and like actually see the full picture. Because there's some shots in the movie that I was like, why would they frame it like that? And then later on realized that often our theater crops the image to fit the screen rather than moving the curtains to fit the picture. Anyway, that's another thing that Jayla's heard from me a million times.
It's valid.
That is definitely like such an amazing kill, and it just keeps going.
I have a favorite, but it's an adjacent movie you haven't seen yet. so I can't really talk about it.
Which movie?
Jason X.
Jason X. Oh yeah, you mentioned that earlier today.
Yeah, there's one in that's just that's pretty brutal. Good job. There's two in that actually that really stand out to me. Dang, I'm real excited to get to that one.
I'm gonna say the ending of Evil Dead Rise.
Ooh, yeah.
Without spoilers, the usual tool you'd expect in an Evil Dead movie.
Yeah.
That is so brutal and emotionally upsetting because of the context, because of the relationships going on there.
Yeah.
That's one for sure. I will gush about Evil Dead Rise all year. That's movie of the year.
It really is. It's Evil Dead Rise and Barbie and Spider-Verse.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good year for cinema.
I'm just like, those three are gonna like whenever I think back to 2023, those are the three movies I'm gonna think of. I'm pretty confident in saying that. Really am. I feel like as soon as we end this, I'm going to think of a bunch of kills that are just like iconic to me. But for right now, thoughts, head empty. Nothing's coming to me.
I'm looking through my movie calendar from the past years so I can come up with another answer for worst movie of this year.
Oh,
because I'm sure I'm forgetting something.
Is there something that we like just force ourselves to forget about?
Probably.
How do you feel about Outwaters?
I did not really like Outwaters. I thought it was too like visually dark, like you can't see anything the whole time and like nothing happens.
I was frustrated by the end.
Which is how historically a lot of found footage movies have gone. It's like nothing happens, but the sort of voyeuristic feel of it has you on edge the whole time. And that movie it did nothing for me, and it's so long. Like it's less than 2 hours, but
it drags.
I'll watch a good 3-hour movie. We saw Babylon, we liked that.
Yeah.
That was 3 hours, but the Outwaters was such a drag.
Yeah. I feel like I will die on this hill. I think found footage is one of, if not the most underutilized subgenres of horror, because I feel like there's so much more to explore and do really well. But it's also the cheapest and easiest to make as far as horror goes. So it's overfilled. It's bloated with a lot of cheap, no effort movies. Cash grabs.
Operation Fortune.
Wow, I forgot Operation Fortune happened.
I don't know how to pronounce the subtitle. Ruse de Guerre. It's a Jason Statham action comedy
Comedy.
It wasn't funny. It just wasn't.
It wasn't funny or fun. So, wow, I completely ejected that from my memory.
Hypnotic. Robert Rodriguez's Hypnotic was kind of a letdown. I know a lot of people who worked on that because I used to work in the Austin film industry. The Machine was, I guess it would count as a letdown. I think I had bigger expectations, but that movie did not really make us laugh.
It was really repetitive. A lot of low-hanging fruit. I think we had like one laugh, maybe.
Bert Kreischer is really funny. The movie was it sucked.
Yeah.
I'll say it. It sucked.
Say it. Speak your truth, Cam.
It sucked. What else?
Anytime we leave the movie theater and it actually sucks, it's always like sours the mood. We have to go
we have to go wash our mouth out.
Pretty much. We have to go follow it up with a better movie. But we leave the theater and it's a great movie. It's like a high. It's so much fun.
Yeah. We see almost everything that comes out. We're learning to be a little more discerning ahead of time. Reviews don't count for everything because of personal taste. But if everyone is saying, "Hey, this is a crock of shit," like we'll avoid it. If it's boring, we always say that's the worst thing it can be is boring.
Because a bad movie can still be entertaining.
Yeah.
But if it's boring, then you get nothing out of it.
Sith Morrison said Babylon has become one of my favorite films. So good. Yeah, I thought it was
that sequence at the end, man.
People didn't like that movie, which I found really baffling. I thought it was a very bold movie. That was very bold.
I always love seeing Tobey Maguire.
Oh yeah, Tobey Maguire looked
He was insane.
he looked like a damn zombie in that movie.
He was so crazy. Creepy. I forgot he was even in it, so he popped up, and that was a big reaction. And then his character itself was like, "This is wild right now."
Out of all the movies that are about Hollywood, that one was actually decent. A lot of Hollywood movies are Hollywood people circle jerking about Hollywood, and that one was actually great. Seth Morrison says, "I've become a big Chazelle fan. Toby was such a creep as well, and I loved it." LOL.
Yeah, that was a highlight for me.
Yeah, La La Land is not our favorite Chazelle movie, but
Yeah.
I love Whiplash.
I respect La La Land, I do, but and I'm a theater nerd. I used to do a musical every year in high school, but I sat down and tried to watch La La Land at least 3 times, and I just can't get through it.
It's not that I can't appreciate a downer ending or a bummer ending. It's that it was a cynical ending. It was just, it didn't have a lot of heart to it, I would say.
Yeah, you're not selling me on it.
But Whiplash, which
Ooh.
I think you still haven't seen Whiplash?
I haven't, but it's something I really want to watch because I know enough about it to know that it's right up my alley of
Yeah.
a kind of movie that I would love.
You think J. Jonah Jameson is angry? You should see Fletcher. You should see
J.K. Grumpy boy.
J.K. Simmons as Fletcher. He is abusive. He's
okay.
He's an absolute villain.
A menace, maybe?
A menace. No, he's an absolute villain. I wouldn't say menace. Menace is like, I'm a menace.
Menace, it was like a...
I'm a menace.
The song?
It was a reference to how Spider-Man is a menace.
Oh, sorry. That was a whoosh.
It was a whoosh, I know.
I understand the reference.
One movie we watched this year that we both loved was Under the Silver Lake.
Oh,
that was crazy good.
Underrated, forgotten A24 movie starring Andrew Garfield with some gnarly moments of body horror.
Yeah, it was so great. It has a good mystery. It has layers that let you dig into it deeper if you want to, that also fit into the theme of the movie. Great stuff. Great stuff.
Lil Wolfie said, my favorite kill scene is from the Piranha movie, Skull 2 crafting faces.
Ooh.
The original Piranha or the remake or
Piranha
or
3 Double D?
Because there's an original one from the 80s or so, and then there was Piranha, and then there was Piranha 3 Double D. I haven't seen any of them.
Very, very camp. Very, very. If you can't tell from the title, I mean. 3 Double D. It's so silly.
Oh, did not mean to skip this question from Indiana Old. Not avoiding that question. Going into Friday the 13th, are you dreading the amount of gratuitous exploitation regarding its female characters?
Ooh.
That's a great question.
That is.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. Sure, I'll go first. I guess as a horror fan for quite a while now, I understand this era really well to know what to expect. It doesn't mean I like it, but I kind of know what I'm getting into when I get into this era for what it's worth. They're definitely not the highlights of these movies. It definitely gets kind of annoying. Like I roll my eyes, even with the first 3. Just like walking around out in the woods in your panties. Come on.
Panties.
These horror movies loved having the girlies just show their girlies. It's just, it is what it was. It doesn't mean it was right. It doesn't justify it, but it definitely isn't a highlight. It definitely doesn't make the movie any stronger, especially when you get into like the context of behind the scenes and how a lot of times there was no protection around them. It was like, if you want to be in this movie, if you want to do this, you have to do this. So they didn't really have that safeguard that, they're trying to implement now.
Mhm.
So it's just something that's as part of that era that I kind of expect, and I kind of just have to deal with it as it comes, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for movies of that time, I really don't expect them to be high art, especially like genre stuff. Now, that's overly generalizing.
Yeah, because you have like The Thing, for example.
Yeah, you have The Thing.
Psycho.
You have, but yeah, okay, just wipe that. We'll fix that in post. Because, like I said earlier, Halloween '78, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the I get
It
what
is
you're-
high art, is what I'm saying.
Yes. No, I completely get what you mean. It's more of like the type of movie in particular of this era. Like Friday the 13th, early Friday the 13th especially, you kind of know what you're getting into. You're not going to get into something that's going to make you think or it's going to have
Exactly.
layers to it.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, even Nightmare has more layers to it instead of like Nightmare. Nancy, she's great. She's a badass. She's amazing. Friday really takes a while to have these really strong characters. They're there to either be naked or get killed.
Yeah, so far with I guess I'll save it for next week, most of it, but like Alice and Ginny seem like they should be iconic final girls, but then they are just like written out by the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great example.
Yeah, there is the double standard regarding nudity. There's a lot of female nudity in these movies, and as of the third movie, no one's hanging dong yet.
No, you're right. Speak your truth. If you're gonna have one person naked, everyone gets naked.
Yeah. I've got lots more thoughts on that, but I'm going to save it for hopefully next week. Hopefully, we'll do Friday 13th, Volume 1 next week.
Yeah, I guess that's another reason why I think of Nightmare and Halloween first is because they have these really strong leads. You have, think of Halloween, for example. Oh my God, I just blanked on her name.
Jamie
Jamie
Lee
Lee
Curtis.
Curtis, like icon, amazing, wonderful. And you haven't gotten to it yet, but Nancy in Nightmare, same thing.
Oh, no, we watched Nightmare 1 last year.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, cool. So like you get what I mean. Like they have some substance to them. They have their motives. They have their personality. They're allowed to be a person outside of their body. And I really respect that.
For sure.
I love Nightmare on Elm Street. If you guys haven't been able to tell,
Mhm.
I was Freddy Krueger for like 3 Halloweens in a row. I did my makeup and everything.
Yeah, she's got a pretty cool prop of the fingy gloves.
Yeah, I have the gloves, I have the thing, and I would like literally cover my face in latex to make burns and all of that every year.
The fingy knives. Little Wolfie said the one Jayla said. That was like 5 minutes ago. Piranha 3 Double D.
3 Double D.
For sure.
If you're gonna like any of them, you might as well like the Double D one.
Little Wolfie also said, y'all talking about violence. What about Invincible? 2 crafting faces.
Oh, he hasn't seen it yet. I've been telling him about Invincible because it kind of blew my mind, especially the first episode, if you know what I mean. Great stuff. Amazing stuff. I like Invincible more than like The Boys. I think they both have a lot of the same idea and general theme, but I like
General theme.
I like Invincible a bit more. Has more of that personal relationship thing going on. Has a few different has more layers to it that I enjoy versus The Boys. No disrespect to The Boys, I'm sorry, but I love Invincible. I've avoided reading the comics because they've been so truthful in the show. I just want to watch the show. And Seth Rogen's in it for like 2 seconds.
Well, Wolfie said, LMAO, what are we waiting on? 3 crafting faces. I've got so much stuff to watch. You should see my TV list. My TV list is like insanely long.
I'll just throw it on one day when we're just not doing anything and he'll be hooked.
I'll watch like 2 movies a week that aren't for the pod, but for the pod, we actually do a lot of prep throughout the week. And so a lot of times, all I can watch is whatever we're talking about this week.
Pretty much.
Sith Morrison, yes, sir. Was that a How I Met Your Mother reference? Yes.
He loves How I Met Your Mother.
So glad you brought it up. How I Met Your Mother was a very formative show for me. I first discovered it. It was playing on reruns on TV. It was the 100th episode. It was the Nothing Suits Me Like a Suit musical sequence. And I just saw that and I was like, oh, that's How I Met Your Mother? And then I went and I still had Netflix DVD at the time. And I watched the entirety of How I Met Your Mother on my little square TV, my little 4x3 TV I had at the time on Netflix DVDs. And since I was in 8th grade and had not been in a relationship up to that point, that show was a little too formative. Basically, it influenced all my ideas of love and romance and relationships. And over the years, people have told me that I'm literally Ted Mosby. And that's been a problem sometimes. I think I've gotten better, maybe. Anyway, still love that show.
It's a
Still
great
funny.
show.
Marshall, I think Marshall is my favorite character.
Oh yeah, Marshall is like my heart.
He's he's a funny best friend, and I have a funny best friend. So,
Thank you.
and I had a funny best friend at the time I was watching it too, but now Jayla's my funny best friend.
I try to make people laugh. It works sometimes. Marshall and Lily were just like I adored them. I adored Marshall and Lily. They were like my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
They were my goals growing up. Because I binged the entire show in one summer with my best friend of high school. Hi Vid, if you ever watch this, love you so much. We binged it the entirety of the summer. I think it was one of the summers in high school. And my dad kept warning us about the ending. He was like, okay, guys, but like the ending, I don't know how you're going to feel. Doesn't matter. Marshall and Lily were my goals. I just love them. I still love them. I love that show.
Funny you should mention the ending. The ending is actually terrible.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think about it.
They could have, if you've never watched it or if you're currently watching it, I would say don't watch the last like 4 episodes maybe. You can watch most of the last season because you get some good time with the mother. I hope this isn't a spoiler.
Of course it's not, because like
that you meet the mother eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I'm not, this isn't a spoiler. This is literally just the season in general. Why did I have to spend an entire season at a wedding when we could have been doing things? We could have been doing things. They said I kept watching the last season and like, oh, another wedding episode. I wonder when this is going to end and they're going to move on, and then they just don't.
And I like that part of it.
Well, I would have liked that part of it if they would have wrapped it up better.
I like a real-time sort of thing where you're exploring lots and lots of what's going on in real time.
Yeah, I know, but like without getting into the main thing, it was pointless.
She played the bass. She played the bass. Oh my God. Sith Morrison said, legend. Wait for Cam to explain his love for HIMYM. Dairy, legendary. Thank you for that. I would not have said that otherwise.
You were just waiting for your opportunity.
I just wouldn't have thought of it.
I remember seeing legendary like merch before I saw the show, and I saw the show like, oh, I get it.
When I was younger and I would see ads on TV for the show, I always thought that Neil Patrick Harris was the main character.
He does have that vibe to him, doesn't he?
I mean, they put him in the center of everything. He had a major breakout role with Barney Stinson.
Right. I really, maybe it's a hot take. Maybe I'm just being like a hipster and edgy, but I really like How I Met Your Mother more than Friends.
Yeah, other than the ending, I would say Friends had a good ending.
Friends had a good ending. I will absolutely give them that. Overall, I enjoyed the characters more in How I Met Your Mother, but I still appreciate Friends because it's a great time capsule of the time, of the era that they were made.
Yes.
So no, I'm not disrespecting Friends. I'm not gonna like poop on it. I'm gonna take a dump on the series. It's iconic for a reason.
Seth Morrison says Neil Patrick Harris was fantastic as the voice of Spidey. A little off topic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Which Spidey was he?
Spectacular, I believe, right? Because it was Spectacular. That was a great Spider-Man show that got cut short. And he's now kind of sort of disgraced, but also Drake Bell did good. I like the Ultimate Spider-Man animated series. I know that's bad. I know that like most people hated it, but I thought it had charm to it. But Spectacular Spidey was good stuff.
He says the MTV series.
Was he not? Oh well, I was wrong. I've still seen
MTV Spider-Man series?
There was. I get them mixed up. I get the names mixed up. I just want to talk about Spectacular Spider-Man for some reason. MTV series, yeah, it didn't go on for long at all, did it?
He says Spectacular was Josh Keaton.
Thank you.
Indiana Old says also the Shattered Dimensions game.
Yeah, dude, listen, that game's so expensive now. It's wild to me because Web of Shadows was my favorite Spider-Man game until Spider-Man PS4 came out. So just for context, I obsessively played Web of Shadows and Shattered Dimensions, and now they're like $100, $80 games going for. Blows my mind. Good stuff though. Shattered Dimensions was the Spider-Verse before Spider-Verse. It was.
Yeah, I mean, No Way Home is, not to take it back to the live action, I'm so simple. No Way Home is Spider-Verse. It's all tying together. I'm calling it now. I think they're going to tie in the live action and the animated stuff because they've referenced the MCU in the Spider-Verse movies, even though they changed the universe number. I think it's all going to tie together. You got that one cameo from Across the Spider-Verse. Yeah.
The one that we like died
Well,
during?
you've got a few, but there's one that we absolutely died and pissed and shitted our pants. Like, it was so excited to see that. Yeah, it's all tying together.
Yeah.
Anyone have any more horror questions specifically?
We're just chatting.
We are very happy to answer all your questions, but before we wrap it up, if you got any more horror stuff.
Yeah, give us a few horror questions to bring it on home.
Yeah.
I have a horror question for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I forgot you actually.
I wrote down
a lot of stuff.
Actually.
Yeah, ask me something.
Let's see. I have two for you.
Okay.
Skinny, as in the entity, and Skinamarink.
Yes.
Versus Ash. Who wins?
Skinny.
You think?
Well, actually. So here's the thing about the Skinamarink. The thing about Skinamarink is we don't know all the rules for it. Based on my theory, the way that I understand the entity, I think it possesses people. And I said this in our Skinamarink episode. I think that the Skinamarink possesses the mother. And I think that one face that we see at that one specific point in the movie is the mother possessed by the Skinny. Now, Ash's specialty is removing heads from bodies of possessed people. So, if them's the rules, then Ash wins, but we don't know what the Skinamarink is. We don't know if it's a demon. It seems more powerful than a demon.
I don't know. I feel like Ash might annoy it to death. Just being so unfazed from all the like creepy little tricks.
The Skinamarink could loop Ash in a moment where he's not running his goddamn mouth. So the windows, the doors disappearing, it seems like the Skinamarink, how many times when I say that, has control over the whole world. I'm gonna have to say Skinamarink.
Ooh.
Seth Morrison says, what would be a horror film you'd want made?
Oh, that was actually one of my questions. Good job. Go for it.
Are we gonna talk about?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Well, shit.
Just like
We've got ideas.
what's like a underutilized even like a setting or setup or premise that you think isn't it's great for a horror premise but just isn't used?
I would like I feel like I just repeat myself a lot, but I would like to see a Scream 7 where we follow a ghost face.
Yeah, that's
Like
what we
in
thought.
the early moments of Scream 6 with Tony Ravioli, where it looked like that movie was going for a hot second. That's what I would like to see.
That would be baller.
Baller.
I do have a last question to end this on whenever you're ready.
Well, we got one last question. What's a horror film you'd want made?
Me? Ooh.
Yeah, you didn't answer.
Oh, geez. That's such a great question. And of course, I'm blanking now. I feel.
Put you on the spot. I was on the spot too.
I know.
Oh, Scream's a good Scream 7.
I love a good, like, desolate setup. I love a good setup that, like, where they think through all the things that we would think through and, like, have the characters try that but still fail.
Oh, you want to see smart slasher characters?
Yeah, I got yes. I want a good smart slasher character. I want an interesting setup. So the desert, or like we had Jackie on a boat recently. Maybe a slasher on like a boat, something like that. This is me wrapping back up, moving back to the thing. I know. Just I don't know. I just want
That
really
was good. That was a good take.
Yeah. I want a really great, like, smart cast. Everyone in the cast is smart. And it's kind of like a cat and mouse game between the antagonists, wherever it is, in an area where they're fighting each other. It is a fight for survival, but it's a smart one. It's not one that uses any cheap gimmicks to kill anyone off. Give me smart slashers. That's the basic idea I have here. I want smart slashers. That's really scary.
We've had enough of, and this answers the least favorite tropes question. We've had enough of don't go in there. Like when you have like a creepy murder shed, yeah, just don't go in there. Like just give us some smart characters.
Yeah,
have it not work.
I actually get this from one of the writers of like that works with Mike Flanagan a lot. Basically, when you have a setup and you think through the solutions that like resolutions that everyone else would think through, and still it doesn't work, that's scarier than just like, oh no, I walked outside and I got stabbed in the eye because I walked outside when I knew there was a murderer outside. Like, fight back, make it interesting. Yeah. Give me a scheme.
Seth Morrison said plans with Stephen Colbert emoji.
Yeah, exactly.
Loose plans, ideas.
Oh, yeah. We do have a few plans.
That's what I was saying earlier when I was like, are we going to talk about that? Or were we not? What were you talking about? I was going
to think about slasher characters with plans. We have plans. They're just kind of in the very early stages. Some are short, some are longer than short. And we are keeping it close to the chest until we have some more solid things to show you guys. Yeah, we don't have much to show for ourselves right now, but we have a really cool idea that we were hoping to execute by the end of the year. That is no longer realistic. No. But I'm an aspiring filmmaker. I will say that. We are aspiring filmmakers. Thank you. Yeah. Indiana Old says favorite Platinum Dunes horror remake. Mine is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2000. What is Platinum Dunes? I think that's a movie company. We're gonna look it up real fast. I believe Platinum Dunes is a film production company. That sounds right. Not to be confused with Dune Entertainment or the movie known as Dune. Oh man, I hope 2 is more interesting. Platinum Dunes. Let's see. Okay, so they made the Purge movies, A Quiet Place. So remake is the question? It's Michael Bay's company. Oh. Okay, filmography. Texas Chainsaw 2003, because that's how people say years. Amityville Horror, Texas Chainsaw, The Beginning, The Hitcher. I have my answer. The Unborn, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Purge, Purge Anarchy,
probably all the Purge movies, I assume. Teenage Mutant Needle Teetles, Out of the Shadows, and the other 2014 one, Ouija 2, Quiet Place, All the Quiet Place, All the Purge. What is it? Favorite or least favorite?
Favorite horror remake. For me, Friday the 13th. I think, although I will say, this might be a bit embarrassing, I will say their horror remake of Nightmare on Elm Street was one of my early horror movies I watched, as I was actually getting into the genre, for better or for worse. I do that movie differently now, but out of their stuff, I would say Friday the 13th probably.
I have not seen any of them, so
no. He says Friday the 13th too.
No answer.
He agrees with me. You ready for a question to wrap us up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Alrighty. So with movies like Terrifier 2 and Skinamarink, and now Talk to Me getting these huge releases, these little indie horror movies that are well made, that are having a great impact. Do you think we are seeing a horror renaissance?
I would need a good list of movies that came out before like 2021. I would say we're in a general movie renaissance. I think a lot of so many big movies have come out this year, and a lot of good indie stuff has come out too. As far as horror goes,
like a mainstream renaissance.
I think so. I want to say yes. I don't really have, all the context because I haven't been a genre fan for my whole life. But whenever we go to a horror movie that's like a more independent thing or just not a big studio release, there are butts in seats.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like one of the small rooms when we saw Skinamarink that second time.
But it was full.
It was full.
Talk to Me.
Talk to Me had butts in seats. Terrifier, I think we saw that one late. There were not butts in seats for that one.
But they were saying that people were seeing it though.
That one was huge. I mean, it made like a lot of money for its budget.
All of them did.
I'm going to say sure. But what do you think?
I think we are. I think we are as far as like a mainstream point of view, as far as like getting into theaters and getting like attention, and horror as a genre being more respected and not seen as like a throwaway thing, as like a low brow thing. I do feel like that's where we're kind of at right now, because over the years, like if you think about the big, off of my head, I can't be wrong, the big horror movies in theaters were like Insidious, Conjuring Verse, not even really Scream, because Scream was a few years ago. There's another one I'm forgetting, but you had indie ones like Babadook and Hereditary and Midsommar kind of pop up here and there. But to get hit one by one like we are right now with Skinny, T2, Talk to Me, is very new. To see horror being taken more seriously feels new to me, and it's really exciting to see people. Huge waves of people go out to see an experimental horror movie, period, in the theaters. For it to be in the theaters, period, that's a major thing. That's a major shift in my point of view. Seth Morrison said horror in the 2010s were very rough. There were some great to good ones, but the 2020s have been the best in a long time, I think. I'm going to amend my answer. I mean, I already said yes, and I stand by that. I think A24 has been absolutely instrumental in the horror renaissance over the past few years. Hereditary came out in 2018. That was a big one. So I'd say maybe from like 2018, around that area would be sort of when the renaissance started. But A24 has been in the game for a little longer. They founded in 2012, I believe, and have become a name in horror more recently than that. But they've only put out like 100-something movies. No, I agree with you. I would say that like A24 has really helped push this forward and open up doors, not just for them and the people that they, the movies that they produce and distribute, but for other people. You know what I mean? They've helped build a platform for other people to be able to get their stuff out there and be taken seriously.
For sure.
Totally.
Well, anything else?
I don't know. Do you want another question?
If you've got one, sure.
Well, that was my ending question, Cam. I wasn't prepared for those.
No, if that was the ending question, then let's
I
wrap
wrote
it
down
up.
like 20 questions. Not 20, like 12 questions.
Do you feel strongly about any of them?
Can you flab while I look?
Okay, let me tell you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay. I can do two more. I can do two more. This is fun.
Okay, go ahead.
So, has there been a horror movie that you just did not expect anything from, but you ended up loving it? Like a real surprise, a real like, oh wait, no, this is I'm kind of vibing with this.
Probably it. I didn't really. I mean, I thought it was gonna be scary, but I just wasn't into the genre at the time. I didn't know how much I was gonna love those movies going forward. As far as everything else, basically all my favorites have been stuff I were already excited for. Didn't know how much I was gonna love Skinamarink, but
we just knew.
We were hyped for Evil Dead for a long ass time, and it was one of those movies that just turned out great. Just turned out to be what we were expecting.
The opening scene, our jaws were on the floor.
Jaws on the floor.
We were losing our mind. And flip side of that, this isn't the last question, but flip side, what's been the biggest disappointment?
Biggest disappointment?
Yeah, that's the movie that you're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be great. This horror movie, or like the horror movie that's gonna really let you down.
I'm gonna look through my list real fast.
Mine was Barbarian.
Oh, I think I was excited for Barbarian.
I was mad after Barbarian. I felt bad for Cam because I was like, "This just wasn't what I wanted." I was disappointed, guys.
Okay, so Scream 6, I didn't have the highest expectations for that. I did have high expectations for The Outwaters. Was let down by that, and Beau is Afraid.
Oh,
because I love Midsommar.
Yeah.
Midsommar is a beautiful movie, very disturbing. I like it a lot. Beau is Afraid was just uncomfortable, and I probably won't watch it again.
It made me feel gross in ways that I don't want a movie to make me feel gross. Personally, I do have one last question for you here, and it is even a better question to stop on.
Real quick, I'm going to get Sith Morrison's comment. Terrifier, actually. I saw it on Netflix, and the image they had looked so goofy. I decided to watch it thinking it was going to be bad, but it turned into a favorite so quick.
That's how T2 was like for us.
Oh, yeah, we had low expectations for Terrifier 2, which we call T2, and were very, very surprised by that movie.
Yeah, we stayed for all the credits because they had a long segment in the credits where it was just like behind the scenes stuff, and it was really great.
Yeah.
So that was definitely an experience we had. Cam, how has your outlook on the genre changed since you started becoming a genre fan? Over the past year, how has it changed?
I have a lot more respect for it in general. I think when I started in watching scary movies, I was very critical, and then I started appreciating more stuff. I started appreciating gore. I used to not like gore. I used to think it was
cheap.
I wouldn't use the word cheap, but I just didn't care for it. And now I love some good gore. If something is really gnarly and really gross, I'm like, I mean, you got Art the Clown smearing shit on the wall and like stomping guts and stomping heads.
Oh, I poisoned you.
And like 5 years ago, I would have been like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And I'm like, can you do better? Can you do more? How high can we go with this? However, I would say I've sort of looped back around, and now I'm getting more critical because now I watch scary movies all the time, and I'm pretty desensitized to them, and it's hard for them to get to me. And I'm sort of back on being critical. There are good ones that I like a lot, but Evil Dead Rise was 4+ months ago, and we're about due for another great horror movie, and I don't think we've had one since then. It's only been 4 months.
And we haven't seen Cobweb yet.
We haven't.
I think I think you're still in good hands because there's so much we haven't been able to touch yet.
There's a lot we haven't been able to see. But also for me, the cinematic experience is very important.
Yes.
Basically, I have a harder time getting into any movie. It's especially true for horror, but for any movie, I have a harder time getting into it if I'm like, 10 feet away from the TV or whatever, and I can look at my phone in my room at the same time. It's just very hard for me to pay attention. Whereas at the movies, I'm going to silence my phone. I'm not going to look at it at all during the movie. I'm going to keep my damn mouth shut because that's what you do. At the movies, you keep your damn mouth shut and you stay off your damn phone. That's what you do. Have some respect. The cinematic experience for horror movies is vital. I think I would have liked The Outwaters a lot more if I had seen it on the big screen.
Or you could see anything.
But we saw it on a small screen. We didn't even see it on a big TV. We saw it on a medium to small TV. I don't watch shit on my phone. I don't watch shit on a computer.
I don't know how people watch movies on their phone.
I can't do it.
No, I can't either.
It's reduced to content. Seth Morrison agrees with me, says, I'm a gore hound. LOL.
Ooh, gorehound.
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 Well, I think this has been a fun show.
Yeah. We should do this sometime every once in a while.
A live stream?
Casual ask us anything.
Casual night. Yeah, casual night will be a thing more often. We're at Last Scare on Twitter and YouTube and TikTok. I don't think we've ever really plugged our TikTok, but we post little clippies there all the time. If you're still here on the chat with us or even watching after the fact, leave a like on the video. Helps us out a little bit.
Please.
Subscribe, ring the bell so you don't miss when we go live. Ring the bell. And we will also always keep you up to date on Twitter, always. And yeah. So, stick around. Don't go too far because just like our boy, Stu Mocker.
I'll be right back.